what's the ultimate hack? We talked about earlier about BCIs, right? So we put in a chip and you have a chip and we don't talk anymore, right? What we call, right? You think something, I immediately understand it. So that's the obvious solution. But the problem is thoughts aren't universal. So a thought is not a file format. So what you're thinking, I couldn't understand because just extracting one thought and insert it into another doesn't work that way because meaning is fused by semantics and syntax. So we can't separate form from function. They are inseparable. And that's something fascinating because some BCI companies currently trying to do without syntax. They're just using semantics. But it won't work. It doesn't work. It's impossible. So if we bypass language, we don't just lose words. We lose entire modes of reasoning. So that's a huge problem. And here's an example for it. So there are certain words in German, for example, Schadenfreude. Yeah, you can't translate it like into an English word. The literal translation is joys at another misfortune. Japanese has tsundoku, and Portuguese has saudade, so deep emotional longing. So some ideas literally don't have words in English, not because people are dumb or so, but because the cognitive router for it just doesn't exist. Okay, that's very important to understand. So another thing, and now we're going to the next part, is the software that got you here is now your prison. Okay, and it's called the coherent prison. Remember this word for later. So your current identity, your language, your beliefs, your success patterns, they got you to this level. But they're also the ceiling preventing you for your next big breakthrough. So for example, as a good student, yeah, who has a lot of great notes, great subjects, very good grades. Okay, so this is somebody, Paul Graham, founder of Y Combinator, he's saying like the best students often make the worst entrepreneurs. So why? Because the good student plays by other people's rules for other people's rewards. So the identity that you have right now with your semantics and syntax and your internal dialogue about how you go after tasks, about hard things and solving them, created your identity of being a good student. And this is perfect for getting A's. But in the future, this can also prevent you. And if you're not aware about this, you might be stuck. The great thing about a human, as us humans, we always can change our identity. The hard thing is, most people ever won't. Most adults never do this because they're accepting their current identity. But you can change it all the time. And I'll show you how. So for the last 200 years, one identity ruled, the specialist. So the school the school system that we have right now was designed during the Industrial Revolution to create specialists. Okay, so people who could do one thing perfectly over and over again, and that's still right now the same. But I think now we will finally see the next couple years a big revolution because it's required in the age of AI. So how does it look like? Because school feels the way it feels because we learn subjects mostly in isolation. I would say like maybe here in Dubai it's a little bit different because here we think a little bit more forward. But if you look in Europe, at least I learned subjects in isolation. So for example, I had to master individual subjects separately and they were not interconnected. So for example, biology was not connected with physics or mathematics, it was just biology. And then there was just mathematics and there was chemistry and different kind of topics. So because that wasn't what the economy needed, right? They needed specialists. So why some things feel easy? We had this already in the beginning, so I will skip this. You remember this feeling? The thing for the future is that AI is the ultimate specialist. And it will be even a better specialist than it is right now. So the game of focus is over, basically. The game of mastering just one thing really, really good is over, because AI will do it better, most certainly. So AI can master any single skill better, faster, and cheaper than any human ever do it. So competing with AI at being a specialist is a game that you will lose 100% of the time. So what's your advantage to become a polymath? So the new advantage isn't depth in one field, it's connecting them all. Are you still with me? Are you still here? Okay, good. So as a polymath, he doesn't know just multiple things. He can connect them. He can interconnect them. They see connections no one else does. They take an insight from physics and apply it to music, for example. They see a pattern in history and use it to build a startup, because that's the only thing that matters in the age of AI, because AI can do a lot of stuff really, really, really good. But what it can't do is like to find patterns where no patterns basically exist right now, still at least. So, for example, Steve Jobs, he combined calligraphy with engineering. Yeah, we wouldn't have Apple if he wouldn't do a lot of different skills, if he wouldn't match them together and build Apple. Same with Elon Musk, combining different industries by first principles, and by doing that also attracting the right people that makes this possible. But knowledge isn't enough. So the polymath is just the master of the map. And what you have to become ultimately is the architect. So know a lot of, master not only one field, master a couple of fields, find the connections, and then let AI do the work. Knowing how to build or how to use AI to solve your own problems, that's the biggest advantage. And that means like going beyond just asking ChatGPT, but like building your own army of agents, for example, being at the forefront. That is what will give you one of the edges. And the final evolution is, like I said, the architect. Like the polymath knows, the architect builds. So you have to become the architect who directs the AI in order, not like just one AI, but like an army of agents that solve your problems, your task. And the most important thing here is you might face this feeling of you have right now with your most hated subject. It feels hard. So it's important for you to understand that by going into this direction, by mastering different fields that might feel hard for you, you have to, first of all, find the purpose, what you want to solve. And the second thing is then like being aware about your own biology, what is happening up here in your brain, and understanding the mechanism. Because why most people fail? Why are most people not extraordinary? So because every day you have the same thoughts. 90% of the thoughts you have today are the same as yesterday. So if you think the same, you decide the same. If you decide the same, you have the same actions. You do the same as yesterday. And if you do the same, you literally have not a new experience, you have an old experience, the same experience. And the same experience, as what you experience is wired with your nervous system, you have the same emotions. You're trapped in an emotional state. Who remembers the feeling of frustration? Yeah, right? Me too. And then if you stay too long in there and you don't go out of the loop, you have the same negative thoughts, and then it repeats and repeats. And this is what awaits you, basically, if you're an adult, because most people don't realize this. So you have to break through. So first, have an intention, what you want to do, what you want to master, recognizing that what you just feel, like the frustration, like this feeling, it's part of the human experience. That's very important. Having anxiety, fear, being sad, that's nothing negative if we can all feel it. If everyone can have it, What is it? And think of a computer game. Is it a bug? No, it's a feature. So if it's a feature, it is there for a purpose to give you a feeling to change, that you can change actually something, and then use your intention to have new thoughts, even if it feels hard. Okay, new thoughts. I have to make a new choice to have a new action, and with a new action, I get a new experience. And when I experience something new, I also feel a new emotion, because I don't feel the same as yesterday. Yeah. The hardest part of change is not making the same change as yesterday and the same choice. So usually it happens when we have a crisis, but you can also channel this with intention if you think about it. So romance your future and not your past if you want to create change, because you are a creator of your future.